Portia, I'm going to read your question, okay? I closed my eyes and I saw Haitian women or black women and kids of some culture in the woods beating drums, wearing all white. Their hair was tied up in white cloth and they were dancing. Well, I mean, I can't tell you with any absolute authority what that was, but it could be a remembrance, from your soul. It could be a past experience, something that you experienced on a on a cellular level, right? And you're just waking up and remembering it. It could be a transmission from your ancestors, to show you what your past, or historically, what your bloodline experienced. Something along those lines. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything to worry about. Okay. Okay. Can you say anything about Egyptian gods? I had a dream placing something. Okay, so here's where I am about Egypt and Kemet. I'm sorry?
I said, look at the camera. I said, look at the camera.
Oh, okay. Something keeps popping up. Okay, so we got a question about Egyptian gods. And this is something that I think is important to answer or to address, because when we start talking about people being authorized and unauthorized to do things, and the DNA being your authorization, a lot of people feel like if we're black then we can do Kemet and magic, or that is our tradition. I think that is partially true. Okay. Because you must understand that Kemet encompassed the vast majority of Africa at one point or another. It was a huge empire, and it lasted for many thousands and thousands of years, and they had contact, and rulership over the vast majority of North Africa. Um, so I think that it's quite plausible that we as African Americans probably do have some ties to ancient Kemet. Um, but I do think that there are more reasonable and relevant traditions that we as children of the diaspora should look into. If you are working with Kemetic deity and it's working for you, then go ahead. If you're not seeing much results, if you're experiencing frustration, then I would say, come a little bit closer to home. That's what I have to say about that.
In preparing my goddamn drink, I want to say that I agree with it, but to add a little bit of a sociological analysis to that, what she's saying is true. Let me explain it this way to you all. Haitian Vodoun is in the if Vodoun was like if you think about Vodoun being like, okay, Vodoun equated with Christianity. You have Baptist, Catholic, so on and so forth. Haitian Vodoun is the youngest form of Vodoun. Mm-hmm. Well, yes. No. New Orleans Vodoun is the youngest.
It's younger than Haitian.
It's younger than Haitian Vodoun, but Haitian Vodoun is very young.
Mm-hmm. Original Vodoun comes from Benin, right?
Right.
In and around Benin, West Africa.
I am black racially. I am black ethnically. Ethnicity meaning culture. My norms, my values, my beliefs, my symbols are all that of which resonates with me comes from an African perspective of united cultural and social relations. However, because of my recent experience, not even recent, but because of my experiences as a Haitian Vodoun priest, I've come to recognize, glorify, venerate, serve my Haitian ancestry. Does that mean that I don't acknowledge the ancestors that came prior to that particular time period? No.
Absolutely not. It's ridiculous.
But in me operating within the realities and the definitions of my destiny, that is where it is located.
Mm-hmm.
More often than not, if you're doing an ancient form of magic, you're not operating within the parameters of your destiny.
Because of the distance in time and space, right?
And if you're
because you're so far removed
right.
from that. I just want people to understand, because Kemet is so intoxicating and everybody wants to work with Tahuti and, you know, and all of that. And there really are going to be much more effective things.
And you can think of newer nations of deities as technological or spiritual logical advancements upon
evolution.
The ones that you find in ancient Kemet.
Yeah.
Because technology is advanced. And Kemet served the needs of the ancient Egyptians during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we live in an industrialized and despiritualized society where theirs was industrialized and spiritualized. So make sure that the deities that you're using correspond to the actual realities of the world that you live in.
Absolutely. That's such a good point. That's such a good point. And you know what? And it may not even be that it's always an evolution too, because I actually believe that society's devolved a lot, especially when you go back to Atlantis. And of course, people will debate whether Atlantis ever existed or not. But then let's just go to Kemet from there. You know, we have evidence of cell phones and communication, crystal-powered communication devices from tens of thousands of years ago. You know, and now we're just now having cell phone technology within the last 30 years, you know. So I just said that to say that make sure, like what Nexo said, make sure the deity that you are calling on is relevant to your circumstance, relevant to your desires, just relevant, you know.
And that the deity's energy and the industries that it patrons over have been updated to correspond to the times, and that's no diss against ancient Kemet. But what do you know about people? So tell me what you know about spells and potions that can kill people.
Me?
No.
What do I know?
You don't know shit. You don't know shit. So you need to be quiet. This ain't your arena.
Yeah,
you're not ready.
I'm gonna let Nexo have this one.
What? No, tell me what you know. I want you to start it out.
I'm gonna tell you what I know. I know that there are potions
that you made,
lotions and creams that exist in the world.
Have you made them?
I know that there are potions, lotions, and creams.
Have you ever made them?
I've never killed anyone.
Have you ever made them?
No.
You've never made a killing product before?
Listen, I've never killed anyone, but I do know that there are potions, lotions, creams, and preparations that can absolutely have dastardly, is that a word? Dastardly effects on people.
It's an adverb.
And circumstances, you know. That technology is ancient. I mean, we've all, well, I don't want to assume, but many of us have heard of sleeping powders and zombie powders, which is a big part of Vodoun. It's been romanticized and bastardized a lot by Hollywood, but it does exist, you know, and it's quite ancient. Absolutely. I mean, it's just like any other thing. And then you guys got to understand, too, that at its core, witchcraft is actually just the marriage of different sciences. Herbalism and astrology and anatomy, human anatomy. It's the marriage of those things. And so scientifically, absolutely, you can mix some shit together and kill people. We know that. They do it every day and call it chemotherapy.
What about E5?
Absolutely. I mean, E5 has its own, you know.
What are some of the most shocking ingredients that you know about that are used? You don't have to tell us the recipe, but some of the most shocking ingredients that you have.
So I've actually heard of a medicine. My own Babalawo told me of a medicine that one of the main ingredients is a human heart. I don't know You guys, I don't know if the heart has to be beating. I don't know if the heart can come from a cadaver. I don't know anything about the prescriptions surrounding the heart, but one of the main ingredients in the preparation is the human heart. I have personally made medicines that include animal organs, and I just recently did one that actually had the toe of a chicken in it.
The word medicine in Haitian Vodoun connotates medical, biological based healing.
Mm-hmm.
But medicine
In E5
is so much more
Yeah.
of an ambiguous umbrella term. So what does medicine mean in E5?
So in E5, the term medicine really means solution. It means fix. It means solution. So I may give you a medicine and you put it under the rug on the driver's side of your car.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that would be medicine for your car, for protection, or to keep it running for the next season because you know it's trying to go out on you and you don't have money to get a new one. Or whatever. You get what I'm saying? Keep somebody out of your car, or to alert you if somebody tries to steal your car. It could do whatever I want it to do. But the point is that would be medicine for your car, which is completely preposterous in the way we typically think about medicine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Typically, medicine in Haitian Vodoun is going to be a prescriptive blend of herbs and other things.
For the body?
For the body.
Okay.
It's made for the body. And I'm thinking about, check her out on YouTube, Intuitive Retta. She gave me a reading a year ago where she did a reading on me, and she said, you done hex somebody and you need to, she was like, you done fucked this person's life up and turned it upside down and you need to take your foot off of their neck. And I had to go to the graveyard and I talked to you and I had to beg Baron to take his foot off this bitch neck and all this other shit. So that was my medicine, okay? That was my medicine because I was not exactly getting peace of mind because the friendship between me and this woman never recovered. But now that we know that there are spells and potions that can kill people, what about spells and potions that break up marriages?
I mean, those absolutely exist. You know, I mean, you guys know, if you've ever contacted a spiritual worker, 9 times out of 10, it was something related to your money or your man or your woman. You know, that's what keeps us in business. So yes, if you had any doubt, there are absolutely spells, potions, lotions, and work that can be done that can have an influence on relationships. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And they do exist. I know them. I know multiple methods to destroying a relationship and bringing that one of the people in the relationship to a new partner. And there it does exist. There's no morality to it. There are consequences to it, but there's no morality to it. And honestly, in Haitian Vodoun, they like to do a lot of that. The spirits like to do a lot of that. It's not so much for the chaos, it's for the purpose of learning your lesson in your life, because it may have been written in your destiny that you're supposed to lose a husband or you're supposed to have multiple marriages. Can I say something? One of the things that I want to remind you guys, I think as we're talking about, potions and lotions and things like that, I want people to understand that when you talk about a potion, when you talk about something that is created for the purpose of spiritual work, it is actually a device. I don't know how to really explain that. It's a device, not unlike a wrench or a hammer or any other tool that you would use to address an issue that you're having. It just, the shape that it takes is just a little bit different because, again, we are dealing with ancient arts. But in this bottle, can you show the camera, Quinn? Give an explanation as I show.
In this bottle, we have chili peppers and we have overproof alcohol and a couple of other things. This is a potion, and I can use this for protection. I can use it for an assault on someone, but what it appears to be is a liquid, right? But what it actually is a device. The items and the ingredients in this preparation are a tool to address whatever situation I'm going through.
And when I was in Haiti, let me give you an example of what this means. I can pour this, I can literally anoint my entire altar with this. Okay? Whatever I set my intentions for, if this is to break up a marriage, I can get my ancestors to do this, right? I can take this and take the juice of it, pour it on your grandmama's graveyard, and get your grandmama to break up your marriage. I can take this and rub it on your door handle of your car, and as soon as you touch it, your marriage is over. Okay? I can pour this outside of your door where you live. All right? As soon as you step on it, the marriage is over. I can sprinkle it on my hand, shake your hand, okay? And say, hey, how you doing? Walk away from you. I command you to leave your husband. And it's over. It is a device.
It's a device.
It is a button that you press.
Yeah. And so the understanding that you need to have, how is it a device, is because energetically the items that go into it create a portal through which spirit is able to work. Is that a good explanation?
Yeah. This okay. So your ancestors, anything that you create with the power of intention will have a spiritual charge to it. When it has a spiritual charge, it is being powered by cosmic forces. It is a portal. This could be a telephone to communicate with spirits. This could be it could be a channel to channel certain types of energies, destructive forces, harmonic forces, however you want to do it. But that makes a lot of sense to think of this as a device. It is then a tool. It's not just a jar of peppers.
And then so here we go with the respect again. It is the ancient, the tried and true usage of these ingredients and the combination of these ingredients that we understand that make this work.
And it would justify, like, if you were to sell this for $200, what you just said justifies the price of this, because somebody they're looking at like, oh, I could probably make. No, you can't.
No,
First,
you
cannot make this yourself. You're not authorized to. Second, this is an ancient ritual, and even in those ancient times, they may have paid $500,000 for this, and you're getting it for $200, and you get so many uses out of this particular device.
Oh, I just had something I got to explain to them. You're going to love it. When he said that the ancestors may have paid $500,000 for this, what I want you guys to understand is that the knowledge and the authorization that is in this bottle has been paid for over and over and over again by my ancestors and their ancestors and their ancestors. We're talking about people who were born and raised till they were age 6 and then whisked away into the forest with the Babalawos, who gave their life to the pursuit of learning how to do this and other things. Your Haitian ancestors who devoted their life, who either didn't marry or were forced to marry 6 people to have children, to create an army and a workforce for this work. This is what you guys are paying for. You're paying for the ancestral energy that brought this knowledge into fruition and then pays it forward by working through us and with us. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. So to close out that question, I'm going to say this. Have I broken up any marriages? Have people called me to asking me to break up their marriages? Yes. How often do I get it? Every month. Every single month.
Every time. You guys get y'all shit together, because really that's the only thing you call about is is breaking up people's relationships or making someone love you, or money and men is what and the majority of my clients are women. So money and men is like 100% of my practice.
30% of my clientele is about spirituality. The rest is about finding their career, getting their man. Maybe 10% is about getting a man that isn't theirs. I do get that on a monthly basis. And if you want to know if I perform that actual work and if it's successful, look out for marriage rates increasing in the next 5 years. Okay? That's all I got to say. All right?
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. So can deities act without your command or your awareness?
Yeah, we already discussed how Ogun was cutting up on my behalf.
But we need to emphasize that them acting without your command or your awareness. So let's talk about when you have commanded them to act on your behalf. What does that mean like? When do you use them to, like, are you trying to bless yourself, acquire money? Are you trying to acquire new property?
All of that every day.
Mm-hmm.
All of that every day. You know, to be a priest or a priestess is to pray. And as a priest or a priestess, every word that comes out, every statement that I make is a prayer. Mm-hmm. And that's heavy. And that's what you guys need to understand too. That's why you'll hear people who walk this walk say, you know, I didn't ask for this. This is not something that I wanted. This is a burden. Because it's a lot of responsibility that comes with it, because you work with Vodoun. You have Vodoun. Vodoun is actually part of who you are. Everything that you say, there is the risk that Vodoun will become animated and do that thing. You know, and the same is true for me and the Orisha that walk with me and reside within me. And so, knowing that, I'm very careful with my speech. I try to be. You know, I even have an exercise that we discussed recently where, you know, for at least an hour a day, I try to think about everything that I say as if it were, in fact, a prayer, and I say amen on the end.
Or ashe.
Or ashe. Absolutely.
Ashe.
You know? Mm-hmm. And that makes me think more about what I'm saying and what I'm putting out there, because if you are initiated, even if you're not, you guys have ancestors that are just waiting to do your bidding. People have jinn that walk with them. DJINN, look that up. People have demons that they have acquired
and you may not even know it.
And you don't even know it.
And so acting on your behalf.
They're acting on your behalf. Exactly. So your question was, has that ever happened to me? Yes, it has. It's happened in ways that were amazing and made me very, very happy and surprised. And then it happened in ways that were somewhat regrettable, which is why now, you know, my approach is just to be careful with everything that I say and even think.
I've made my approach to be careful who I hang around, because the things that Vodoun was doing to people.
Because you don't want nobody to make you act up.
Yeah, I don't want somebody to make me act up.
Right.
I'm working really diligently on becoming all that is Nexo. Going from ratchet ass Memphis me to this to wherever else I become. And I'm trying to make sure that I use my discernment. Because the thing that I've noticed is that Vodoun is like, you can fuck with whoever you want to fuck with as soon as they fuck with you on the end of their life. And I recognize that I become careless with giving up my friendship, almost as though it's free pussy. And I don't want to do that anymore because I didn't know that people were contracting STDs from fucking with me on a spiritual level.
Yeah,
on a spiritual
absolutely.
level. And so I have to be careful who I hang around, because the things that people can say to me can disrespect Vodoun, and the next thing that you know, your paycheck is late, your rent is late, you evicted, and you just wonder how that happened.
It's just a disruption of energy, you guys. And so, Nexo, talk to them about what curses actually look like in real life, because I think Hollywood has people thinking, you know, something completely different. What he actually just described, you guys, is an example of what a curse looks like in real life. It's not, you know, I mean, it can be, you can have nightmares and stuff like that, but it's not necessarily, you know, you driving down the street or walking down the street and your foot gets chopped off, or some other crazy, you know, super dramatic thing that Hollywood would have us believe.
In social psychological terms, so that people can understand what curses look like: chronic depression, repeated depression, people that are like in inability to budget. Also, no, this is not, let me get off of class-based, like lower class forms of curses. Middle class forms of curses. Your marriage is disrupted. Your kids are being bullied, like people are bullying your children in school. Other forms of being cursed are, you can't seem to get that degree.
Can't finish things. Yeah.
Conflict at work. Issues having children. Disruptions in your marriage, or your husband or your spouse trailing off somewhere else and you don't even know why that is. Now there are
and depression, all the things that we take these little pills for.
And insomnia is okay. Insomnia, that is the biggest one, because when I first started
It is.
doing this work, I met so many people that were insomniacs, and I was prescribing to them regimens to pray and meditate so that they could calm their mind. And what I realized was that the meditation was helping them to identify the ideas that were keeping them up at night, so that they could better attack them, approach them during the daytime, and sleep better at night. That's what meditation was doing for them, which was helping them outside of the prescription medication. Even the person I was dating, when I met him, it was like he stopped taking his medications for a time period simply because he needed to adjust his perspective, his way of thinking. To the medications suppress
the cause. They keep you from
the perceptions of the curse.
Yeah.
It suppresses your perceptions that the curse is affecting you. That's how I feel. It's still affecting you.
Yeah.
You just have deluded yourself into not thinking that it is. And I am speaking against prescribed medications in some instances. I do think people need spiritual work. Also, the other times I've seen curses happen.
Addictions are a big one for me.
Go for it.
Yeah. Addictions are a big one for me. I mean, I think that, and we teased about it earlier, and I think it's something that we can come back and talk about. I just want to be careful about giving life to that thought form. But addiction is a spirit. I dare say addiction is, I don't want to call it a deity. Addiction is is an ancient energy that is part of the fabric of the universe. And really what it is desire. But it's desire, manipulated desire. Am I getting too deep?
No, because as soon as you finish, I gotta check a bitch on my YouTube.
Oh God.
I'm listening.
And so yes, addiction is a spirit. Addiction is a spirit that can be manipulated, and it can be tasked with fucking your life up. And so if you experience a lot of addictions, if you have addictive personality disorder, if you have strongholds in your life, it's quite likely that you have been hexed or cursed.
Yeah, because I definitely have bought some. I've never in my motherfucking life used this shit. I've definitely purchased some cocaine, put it into a bottle of water with some ammonia, and given somebody a motherfucking addiction to some shit that they didn't fucking need, because I put the shit on them, because I don't want you focused. I want your shit to be fucked up. So yeah, it definitely works in that way. But somebody was saying that they made a very simplistic analysis of what we were saying, that according to us, most people will be mildly hexed or cursed. And I wanted to emphasize the difference between a psychological problem and a spiritual problem. Mm-hmm. Sometimes your psychological problems are because of your childhood upbringing or the things that you've experienced in your everyday life. But we're talking about things that are related to your DNA, your spirituality, things that you are already predisposed to or determined to be dealing with because of your destiny.
And also the most powerful curse that exists is that from a mother to a child. And your mom ain't got to be a witch to curse you. She can call you dumb. She can call you fat. She can mistreat you as a child and tear down your natural defenses against assault of any kind and make you open to abuse. I mean, come on. So yeah, a lot of people are cursed. I would say the vast majority of people are dealing with some form of hex or cursing, whether it's generational, whether it's self-induced, or whether it is of a more spiritual nature. Thoughts are living things, you guys.
And whatever the cause of your issue is, it needs to be addressed, because a lot of y'all on YouTube, y'all motherfuckers need more than a sea salt and lemon bath. Now moving on to the next.
Who's the bitch that we gotta roast?
Let's see, who was that said that?
But you guys, while Nexo is doing that, I want to talk to you about self-hexing, because you have to stop doing that. Stop believing what people tell you. Turn off the TV. That's the first thing that you can do. Turn off the TV and stop letting other people tell you how you should be, who you are, and what's wrong with you. Self-hexing is something that we absolutely see a lot.
Okay, we can't roast this person because
Okay.
we're just gonna skip that one.
We're gonna keep it
We
moving.
can't keep roast that person. They bought a reading from me. All right. All right. So now we're gonna move on to can you use divination to solve crimes?
Of course.
Now I've definitely done it.
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely have you?
Quinn, now you know what we have done together. Yes, you can use divination to solve crimes. I mean, you can use divination to solve any kind of situation, especially if you're very well tapped in and your readings are accurate.
Can you tell us what were some? Can you tell the audience what were some of the things that we did? You can tell more of what I did if you want to. Yeah, you don't have to.
I'm trying to even think. I don't even know how to clean up any particular situation to share it. I mean, me and Quinn are like Hansel and Gretel. We just being forced, fucking around, just in the dark, in the middle of the night, sword fighting with each other. Just waiting to get locked in the house of the witch's house. Like,
so, would I go anything that comes?
I mean, if you can think of something, I'm serious. I'm trying to think of something. I can't clean it up enough.
I'll think of something. I'll clean it up.
Okay, so a crime or a problem. I'm trying to think of something where we. Okay, so I was involved in a situation, and I was absolutely being mistreated. And so, and I was doing work and Quinn was doing work. And we were trying to monitor this particular situation. Actually, the work that he was doing was divination. And I was doing some other work. And we came up with what we called, we ended up calling them, not security camera readings. Surveillance camera readings. And we actually read this situation like every hour on the hour for like 3 days straight because we needed up to date, up to the minute.
And we were getting it as is. It was like, what is this person doing right now?
Right now.
They are taking a shower. They are changing their undergarments. Mm-hmm. They are washing their hair. And they are about to call you. Mm-hmm. 5 minutes later, they called her. Yeah. I mean, we learned it was like we can do readings on you. It's like we're doing the reading mm-hmm. almost as though we're watching you in real time.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was great. Yeah. Well, so what about using divination to figure out who has performed magical work against you?
Absolutely. The only limitation is the professional that you seek help from, or yourself if you're doing your own. Oh, what about doing divination for yourself? But let me answer that question first about getting, finding out who's working against you. You can absolutely find out who's working against you. Everything can be discovered through divination. It's just how well your reader can see. I think. I mean, duh.
How well your reader can see would explain why so many people come to me to do readings on them. Mm-hmm. And I do think that how well your reader can quote unquote. Be mindful that a lot of readers that you go to, if you come to them asking, do you have a hex on you? They're going to say yes. Because they want some money.
Yeah, that's true. If they do spiritual work, because they're going to want to do the work to get it off of you or refer you to somebody.
Even if they don't do spiritual work, you got a hex on you. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be paying them some money.
You know what I do a lot of times? I ask them, who do you think hexed you? Because 9 times out of 10, the person knows. But that's shock talk.
No, I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Typically, when people have hexes or curses on them, I do a tarot reading on them, and I'm looking for certain cards to appear up. I'll do one at the most 2 shuffles, and I'm looking for certain cards to appear. If they don't appear, I don't see anything in regards to that particular situation. There are many areas in your life that you can be hexed on. Can I find out who did it? Yes, I can. There will be certain cards that show up. I'll be able to describe the person. In a deeper situation, yes, I'll be able to see them through my clairvoyance. I'll be able to hear about it through my pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
But
spirit board.
I guess just for the most part, it's not. I'm usually focused on getting it off of the person and telling them to cut everybody off right now.
Well, see, that's
usually people need to do. Usually people's friendship circles and social circles ain't right anyway.
But a little background, you guys, that's also a best practice that he's developed. I mean, I think that you probably have just also decided not to incite violence and a bunch of other craziness by telling people who did whatever to them as well, which I'm kind of the same way. I will ask a person who they think is responsible for their troubles or who has hexed them, and sometimes I will confirm, but like Nexo said, it's more important to move past it and get it off of you than it is to identify who done it. But the answer to the question is yes, you can find out who did it. What I wanted to ask you next, though, was what do you think about people doing readings for themselves? You got to speak on this because these babies out here driving themselves crazy.
I need a monologue.
That's the whole show.
Let me sit myself upright. Put on a good grandfather hat. Okay, I feel honest to God, doing readings for yourself, be very careful. Especially depending on the divination tool that you're using, because I have seen shit go awry for people doing readings for themselves.
You got a good friend that's gone crazy.
I feel like at the end of the day, doing readings for yourselves, leave it to an experienced professional like me or someone like her or someone else that you may know. If you are not sure about doing a reading on yourself, then I would definitely not say to do it. I feel if you're using tarot, let me tell you about the dangers of shit. Okay, tarot, pendulum, all this shit is dangerous when you're trying to do readings for you. Let me tell you about how tarot. Let me tell you what hasn't worked. People use tarot, and because they read the book, they are using the definitions of the book and trying to apply it to their life rather than using their intuition and their interpretations of the cards to interpret their life. They have no connection to their ancestors. No ancestral altar, no meditation, no prayer. They do nothing to develop their intuitive sensitivity to their ancestors. Nothing to develop a trusting relationship to them. So how the fuck are you going to give an accurate reading that's from spirit if the channel is clogged with confusion, distrust, and more confusion? Shit, be basic as fuck. But the point is that I've seen people try to use a tarot deck to divine for themselves. So they're just playing cards, and they come up with these very inaccurate conclusions about their life, or because
extremely literal too.
Extremely literal to the point that they're like missing they may be, for example, an extremely literal interpretation is when you're dealing with a guy that may or may not call you back all the time. You do a tarot reading and then you interpret the tarot reading's like, I got the tower, it meant I need to cut him off, so I cut him off. No, the fuck, that's not what it meant. Your intuition should have told you that hypothetically this card meant a serious type of transformation where this person is building you up, breaking you down, building you up, breaking you down, preparing you for the next person. So you cut them off prematurely. And because you cut them off prematurely, you're supposed to deal with this person 8 months, and then 2 months after the breakup, you meet your soulmate. Mm-hmm. But because you missed that entire lesson, bitch, you're going to be single for the next 5 months. Mm-hmm. So I've seen tarot fuck people up. Mm-hmm. All right. Reading with crystal balls. I've seen that shit fuck people up because they not seeing the right shit, or they say they can't see shit, or they be making stuff up. Like, I've been in Phoenix and Dragon. White old ladies love to come to me and talk to me about scrying. I scry my crystal ball and I can see colors. Great, bitch, you can see colors. I see movies. I see events, okay? And what people will do is they'll take those little interpretations of what they're perceiving from a crystal ball, a cup of water, or a black mirror, and they have these, because their clairvoyance is warped, their interpretations of the events going on around them are warped, and they end up I want to say being mean to people that they shouldn't be mean to.
Or overly suspicious and
or overly sensitive. Like, pendulums. Pendulums are another bad place too, because I've seen it where somebody was like, I've said this before in my video in Haiti. I was like, I told y'all about this. You know about this. Somebody's spirit board said, bitch, I'm gonna kill you and your kids. They thought they was talking to a deity. Mm-hmm. It spelled it out on the. They use a pendulum and a spirit board. It spelled it out. Bitch, I will kill you and your kids. Mm-hmm. Did they keep? Their kids still alive? But that was a mischievous ass spirit. I'll tell you that. It didn't have the power to kill. Mm-hmm. It did not have the power to kill, and thank God. There are times where people have. But here's the other thing. Here's an example of somebody using witchcraft, but it doesn't look like witchcraft. You ever had that friend that's suspicious of everybody? Mm-hmm. Don't trust nobody. I ain't got no friends, especially women, because I have a lot of female clientele, and this is gonna sound fucked up because I'm a man, so I will endure all sexism when it comes with this shit. A lot of women are very distrusting of people, and it makes sense because society has menaced you as a woman, but they'll be very distrusting of people. I don't hang out with other females. I don't trust them bitches. And then I'm like, your intuition, like you definitely have your discernment is tuned towards such an intense level that you are discriminating against everybody that surrounds you on the basis of some bullshit.
And that's self-hexing too. You're going to continue to have negative experiences with women as long as you expect to have negative experiences with women.
With all that said, thank you for that, because with all that said, it shows you that even if you don't use a tool, mm-hmm. as long as you rely on the power of your intuition mm-hmm. to direct how you go about life, and your intuition is not informed by your ancestors, it's going to fuck you up. Whether it's a pendulum, cards, a crystal ball, or I just feel like that person don't like me.
And so here we are again, you guys, talking about devices. You know, we're talking about these tools, which are really just devices of spirit. What powers your divination tools is your intuition and your connection to divinity. That's what powers it. And so if your connection is off, or if your intuition is off, then your cards are not going to work, and neither is your pendulum, and neither is your spirit board, and neither is that glass of cool, clear water.
And there you have it. Well, I think we're about to ready to end the show. So, that means it.
Questions, and then are we going to do a reading?
Yeah, let's do a reading.
Okay.
All right, so what are we going to do a reading on? Well, let's see.
I want to take some questions.
Okay.
I want to take questions, and I'll do a reading about the questions, but I'm going to be highly selective. Please do not ask me about your man or your money. Ask me about a spiritual pursuit or something relevant to what we have discussed today. Okay. Nobody has any questions? Nobody wants a reading? If you want a reading, go ahead and type your question, preface it with a skull. Type the actual question. All of these hands up and me. Don't do that. Just a skull and then your question. One more time, if you would like to have a question answered through a reading, I need a skull and then your question. Okay, I see someone. Someone told me that I am cursed. Is this true? Yes. The fact that you're asking that question tells me that you have accepted that as your reality, and you probably are cursed. How should I pray or get answers for my questions? You should pray and meditate. Prayer is when you talk to God, and meditation is when you listen. Do both every day, twice a day, at least 10 minutes, and you'll start to see your intuition heighten. Are my ancestors trying to reach me through dreams? Most likely. That is one of the ways that they communicate. It's probably one of the first ways that they communicate. How can I connect with my ancestors better? Pray and meditate twice a day, at least 10 minutes each time. So when you guys ask questions like, is there anything my spirit guides need me to know? You don't have any spirit guides if you're asking me that. You don't know who they are. They're not guiding you.
Isn't that not a paradoxical, but isn't that an oxymoron?
Oxymoron, yeah.
Isn't that what do my spirit guides want me to know?
Do you have spirit guides?
Wouldn't they be guiding you? So stop asking, what do my spirit guides want me to know?
Right. Actually confirm that you have spirit guides, and you can do that by praying and meditating twice a day, 10 minutes each session.
Let's see.
How do I connect with my ancestors? Pray and meditate twice a day, at least 10 minutes per session.
How can I remove the curse? All right, it's time for us to just go ahead and get into some psychic reading, a psychic reading, because these are some dumbass questions.
Can you tell me why I had a dream about Thoth? I never know how to say that. No, I don't know why. You may have been working with that energy, conjuring it in some way. It could also just be your imagination, and I'm not saying that to be dismissive, but dreams are a product of the mind. I really can't answer that question, and I'm not going to pull cards on it because I don't think that we'll get a very clear answer as to why you thought what you thought during your sleep. Only you know that. Pray and meditate twice a day.
Okay, let's talk about, let's do a psychic reading on the generational curse of the Black community.
That's such a big topic. I was hoping someone would give us a really good question.
Not on YouTube.
I'm so disappointed.
Welcome to YouTube.
Y'all, these questions are basic. Y'all need to do better. You have so many opportunities to get real healing and insight, and y'all want to know if you're ever going to be successful in life. That is strictly up to you. I'm not going to pull a card on that. Does anybody have any questions related to what we talked about today?
No, these. All right. So to read the goddamn shit out of y'all, these questions are goddamn awful. Why? Because number one, a lot of these questions y'all asses already know the answers to. So how about y'all start the questions with, what are the consequences of blank? What are the consequences of me starting this relationship? What are the consequences of me breaking this generational curse? What are the consequences of...
Okay, Naya Love. I like her question. It's the first one that piqued my interest so far. Speak on generational curses. Now, Naya Love, before I go in, because I go all the way in with my readings, do you want to know about any generational curses that might be affecting you and your family? Because if I do this reading, I might be pulling your skirt up a little bit. So respond and let me know if you want that reading. If not, we'll move on.
All right, so we'll both do a reading on Naya Love?
If she wants us to, yeah.
Don't ask us any questions that you can Google. Stop asking us questions that you can put in Google.
Okay, Naya Love.
All right, so we're doing a reading on Naya Love and generational curses.
Generational curses. Okay.
You first, or you want me to go first?
I'm gonna go first. I just feel like I should.
Okay, ancestral priest.
Yes, I am an Aziz priestess. Okay, Naya Love. What does Naya Love need to know about generational curses as they relate to her and her family? Wow. Okay, so Naya, you already know. You asked this question because you already know what's up. The first card I get is the card.
The camera.
Okay, the camera. I'm sorry. The first card I get is the card for the fool or deception, but the card was upside down. Okay, so this is telling me that you are not being deceived, but instead are deceiving yourself. Okay. The next card I get is the card for self-deception. Self-explanatory. And then the last card I get is the card for the visionary, which is saying that you've already had visions of this or have somehow been alerted to this fact already. So, this resonates well with me because the fact that you asked the question lets me know that it's something that is in your consciousness and you're already aware of the possibility, or I would even say the fact that there is a generational curse on your family, and you've kind of been trying not to believe that. What I want to do is give you some solutions, okay? So I'm going to reshuffle and I'm going to ask, what is it that you can do to start working on these curses? What is it that Naya can do to begin to work, heal, and address? Okay, so this has to do with the men in your family. Okay, the first card I get is the card for the nobleman. This is talking about the men in your bloodline. And because it's coming up as the nobleman, it's saying that the men in your family are have been of a high quality. They've been noble. Going back beyond the diaspora, I wouldn't be surprised if they weren't of a ruling class or of a high class. But at some point, they began to be abused and neglected in a maternal way, because the card I have is the card for the love child, and it's upside down. So this is speaking to a child that is hurt, not having what they need, not being provided for in some way. It definitely speaks to a poor relationship with mothers. So you may want to go in and look at the relationship between the men in your family to their mothers, or the women in your family. That seems to be the area that needs healing. And then the last card I have is the card, hope you guys can see that, is the card for the vampire, and it was upside down. So this is saying that it's not been a huge drain on your energy. So I think that this is a good sign. It is something that is affecting the bloodline, but it's not really preventing progress. But there is a healing that can be done. So hopefully that gives you enough information to be able to begin to meditate and pray on, and the ancestors will absolutely guide you on how you can help them. And I hope that helps.
Okay, so let's see. I'm going to answer.
You were going to read on Naya too, about the generational curse.
Oh, well then we'll just end there. So I'm going to read on Naya as well. And I'm going to read about your generational curse using my The spirit board made by our best friend. I don't know her name.
The name of the company? I don't know the name of the company.
No, the spiritualist. What's her name? Never mind. Okay. Anyway, all right. So Naya Love. I don't have my tarot cards, so I'm gonna be using playing cards, that I bought from Kroger. All right. All right, so the card that I got first, holding it up, is the Queen of Hearts. Okay, so I got the Queen of Hearts. So with the Queen of Hearts here in this particular deck is your greatest spiritual challenge. This is meaning that you have an underdeveloped relationship with your ancestors, and it also means that the maternal part of your bloodline is also trying to reach out to you as well. They're the part of your bloodline that you would feel the most connected to. Now, when I say maternal could mean your mother's side, or it could mean your father's mother's side. So it's either going to start with your mother's side or your father's mother's side, but that's who you need to work with. I'm also hearing very strongly that you don't know one side of your family's lineage, and that's the side that you need to start investigating into. All right, so the second card that I get is the Six of Clubs. The Six of Clubs would essentially be, I think you can think of it as like the Six of shit. It's club, spades. No, Six of Clubs is Six of Wands. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yeah, to relate to the tarot is the Six of Wands, but in this particular, because it's in your house of intuition, this means that you're going to have to go and meet. You're going to have to either go back to your hometown and talk to people that were friends with your family members, or you're going to have to talk to old friends and family so that you can start having the actual names of your ancestors to call them out during your prayers and your meditation so that you can actually work with them. Now, the card for the Joker is in your house of what needs to be organized. So this would be the card for the Joker. So this Joker card is similar to her Fool card in the sense, deception, but this deception card is in your house of what needs to be organized. So you don't need to organize yourself around the deception. Mm-hmm. You need to organize yourself in spite of the deception. Absolutely. So I feel like this could be indicating that you don't know who your father is, or it could indicate that you lived in a very religious household that led you down the wrong spiritual path. And now it's time for you to do the ancestor worship to get back on the path to heal the generational curse. It could be either of the two. The Nine of Clubs is in your house of hidden advantages. In your house of hidden advantages, for the Nine of Clubs to be here, this means that you need to establish healthy boundaries between yourself and your ancestors. It means that you have hyperbolized spirituality to where it's like you almost are making it seem like it's the horror movies or paranormal experiences, and that's not what the fuck any of this shit is. You need to establish a very healthy boundary between what spirituality is and what your conspiracy based or phobic based thoughts are. It's like what you think of it versus what it actually is. That's not there. All right, so in your best path to take, I get the Five of Clubs. So the Five of Clubs here would be all right, so the Five of Clubs is speaking about you needed to get over an internal conflict with dealing with your ancestors and your spirits. It's like everything that we've been saying to you in this entire podcast video has been alien to you. It's new for you. And then I also got the Eight of Clubs. We're not going to pick up any of these cards. I got the Eight of Clubs, which meant that the Eight of Clubs essentially meant that you are put in a position where you have to postpone learning about ancestral worship. And I asked to clarify, why would you need to postpone? The Nine of Hearts, meaning that your wishes will be fulfilled through ancestral worship. The Nine of Diamonds, meaning that your money will get better through ancestral worship. But the Ace of Spades, meaning that you need to learn more. So I I don't think that it's. I think that you ask way too many questions. And I think that you would set up an altar and ask shit like, should I leave a fruit cup instead of fruit? So when spirituality becomes simple, when the phrase keep it simple, stupid, kiss, keep it simple, stupid really resonates with you in your heart, then start the ancestral worship. Until then, I think that you need to light a white candle, pray to the God Almighty, and you'll be fine. You picked up anything else?
I saw a few things. There are a lot of people that have questions. A couple of people that have questions. Phyllis wants to also know what is the generational curse that she's dealing with and how she can improve it. I don't want to answer the same question. A lot of people want ancestral readings. If you guys would like
some of these readings can be answered in a private consultation.
Exactly, right? Yeah. I mean, 3 cards is nice, and we're not going to sit here and do this for everybody on the live. You both spoke about not reading for yourself, but isn't that the first step to learn and build a relationship with the tarot?
You want to answer that?
No. Well, I don't mind. Yeah, I would like to answer that. And that was Angie H. So, Angie, it's like this. I don't think that that a surgeon, a Johns Hopkins surgeon.
My best friend went to Johns Hopkins.
I don't think that he should probably perform open heart surgery on himself. So definitely when it comes to something serious, you don't want to do the reading for yourself. Now, can that surgeon get a splinter out of his big toe if he's walking outside barefoot? Probably. You get what I'm saying? And there's a lot of space between removing a splinter and doing open heart surgery. And so I think that you have that much leeway in your practice. Yes, when you begin to learn to do readings, you are going to read about yourself. But what's more useful is to ask questions about people around you, to ask questions about situations that you're going through, to ask questions about your ancestors, things that are going to give you insight into what's in your periphery on the everyday basis, things that you may be unaware of, versus doing a reading about, does he really love me? And what does, you get what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes any sense.
No. To add to that point, because I feel like what I'm about to say is going to add to the point. The times that it's beneficial for you to do a reading on yourself are when you have another experienced reader around you to surveil you while you're doing that reading. And you're doing it to enhance or sharpen your skills. I think that if you're trying to do it as a form of triage, or you're just trying to do it as a form of like, I'm practicing, that's good. But if you're designated to do this work, you're going to find someone and know someone and have someone around you that will read for you, that will surveil you while you're doing the reading. If you don't have that person, it's not for you to do this work. Yeah. And it's really that simple.
And when the student is ready, the teacher appears. This is not something that you should be doing alone in your bedroom. No. You need to be plugged into someone who cares and a tradition that is going to give you prestige, power, and protection. Absolutely.
So yeah, I feel like it's important for you to know how to read for yourself. But the times where I've had to read for myself have been like dire emergency, and no one else was available, and my phone was dead.
And even then, he probably called me later on that day and asked me to do the reading.
To do a double check on what I got. Exactly. Yeah. You
have to have a network, I think. It's just dangerous to try to diagnose and treat yourself.
Well, I think we should close it out because we're at 1 hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, wow. For the second show? What?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's time.
All right. Well, with that being said, how can they find out more about you?
I can be, you know what? Let me just confirm. Nexo, take it away while I look. I want to give them the right information.
Okay. Well, thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of Sophisticated Sunday. I hope that you all enjoyed it as I brought on my best friend, Osun Funke. What we've talked about to you all are how to work with your ancestors, how to use tea light candles, what were potions, hexes, curses. We did 2 shows in one day, and I think that is absolutely amazing in itself. So thank you all for the content.
Yes, and you can reach me on We the 333. So that's WETHE 333 on Instagram. I apologize. We will actually have our site and our channel and everything else up very shortly. But if you need to get in contact with me between now and then, you can do so. I will also give you a business number to text. That phone number is 678-459-5274. You can text that number to schedule an appointment for readings. Phone calls are not accepted, not appreciated in any way, but you can text and you will receive a call back if necessary, and we can schedule a reading or an appointment for advising work, so on and so forth.
If you're watching this video, y'all motherfuckers know how to get in contact with me. Watch the end of the video in the motherfucking credits because I got all my shit in it, bitch. Don't ask me for motherfucking shit. Don't ask me how to get in motherfucking contact with my Patreon, bitch. Don't ask me how to get a motherfucking reading because it's all in the motherfuking credits. Of this goddamn video, bitch. And if you can't, look in the description box. And if you're watching this shit on Patreon, then
Thank you.
Thank you, and you already know how to get in contact with me. You got 3 more brain cells than the motherfuckers on YouTube, and that's 3 more than they got, okay? So, with that being said, you know how to get in contact with me, www.blackspectrumnetwork.com. We hope that you all have enjoyed this show.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and say sayonara in the words of the rapper Dreezy. Gave mercy to these hoes. What would Jesus do? I'm your host, Nexo, and thank you all for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Fire, take me higher, I'll be your liar too. Cause when we're here, there's nothing better than the skyline view.